143 member of parliament has been suspended including Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha. This is highest ever parliamentary suspension. Actually, on the 13th December 2023, there has been a security breach and 2% entered inside the parliament and 2% was outside. This 13th December is the exact same date on which the parliament got attacked in 2001. So after 22 years, on the same day, there has been security breach. Regarding this security breach, various parliamentarians in the Lok Sabha as well as the Raj Sabha, they have been protesting. They have been asking questions. They have been asking from the Prime Minister and the Home Ministers. They have been using this kind of placards, and these kinds of placards has been used inside the house, inside the Lok Sabha and the Raj Sabha. And that is the main reason why this 143 MPs have been suspended. Right, there are at present 522 member of parliament in the Lok Sabha and 238 member of parliament in the Raj Sabha. So in total there are 760 members, and till today 143 has been suspended. Now with this news, there may be several kinds of questions which may arise in your mind. That can be why they have been suspended, right? So the case is that they have been protesting of some kinds and they have been taking that placards inside the house. So that is considered as a grossly violation of the rules and regulations. Whether it is legal or not, whether there are any kinds of rules or regulation in the house which is guiding such kinds of things, these kinds of questions which may arise in your mind. Who can suspend these parliamentarians, right? How suspension is done? What is the procedure which is being followed to suspend a member of parliament? And if a member of parliament is suspended, for how long that person can be suspended? How this suspension is different from the disqualification? Because in disqualification, a member gets disqualified for that period, means for the 5 years period for which the Lok Sabha is there. So if there is that is disqualified, then they will be remain disqualified for whole term. Is the rule different in the Lok Sabha or the Raj Sabha, or whether in both the houses same rule of procedure is being followed? How this will impact the role of member of parliament, and what are the options available to those who are suspended? Also, how it will hamper the democracy, and what should be the way forward for the future? All these questions will be coming in your mind, and we will be discussing all these things in the video. First thing first, there is a general principles, there is general guidelines for the suspension. Actually, the presiding officer of the house, for Lok Sabha it is a speaker, for Raj Sabha it is chairman. So this presiding officer has to maintain order and decorum in the house. Very well. According to this, the speaker and the chairman is empowered to force a member to withdraw from that house. Is for that particular day, the member can withdraw from that day. Yes, they will not be taking part in that discussion during that day. So that is there. Now, for Lok Sabha as well as Raj Sabha, there is different rule of procedure. So there is not a single rule of procedure which is governing both the Lok Sabha and the Raj Sabha. Both the houses are independent and both the houses have different set of rules and regulations. So what does this rule of procedure of Lok Sabha says? The rule of procedure of Lok Sabha says, according to the rule 373 of the Constitution, the speaker is empowered. It is the power of the speaker that if any person, if any member of parliament within the Lok Sabha is having activity which is grossly disordered in nature, then the speaker can direct that member to withdraw immediately. What does this mean? Means for that particular day, that particular member will be remaining absent. They will not be taking part in any kinds of discussion or any kinds of activity which the house is going on. Right? Another rule, that is rule number 374 is there. This rule number 374, it empowers the speaker that a speaker can take a name of a member. In what case? If the speaker feels that the person has disregarded the authority of the chair, or the disregarded the authority of the speaker, or the person has abused the rule of the house persistently. So in this case, what will be considered? That the member has willfully obstructed the business of the house. So what can be the options a speaker will have? A speaker in this case, a speaker can bring a motion in the house, and if that motion is passed, then the member who has been conducting such kinds of gross disregard, they will be suspended. But the question arises, for how long they will be suspended? Not more than that particular session. Within a parliament, there are 3 sessions, that is budget session, monsoon session, winter session. So if a person is being suspended right now, it is being suspended under the winter session. So they will remain suspended for the winter section. So at max, a speaker can suspend that member of parliament or the member of Lok Sabha for that session itself, not more than that. Another rule says under Article Rule 374A of the Lok Sabha, it says that if there is gross violation or serve charges, then the speaker can name the member of house, right, and that will remain automatically suspended for the next consecutive 5 days, or for the complete session, whichever is earlier. If the session is being completed within 3 days, so they will be suspended for the 3 days. If the session is going to be conducted for more than 5 days, then that person will be suspended for 5 days. Right. So these are the rules in Lok Sabha. Rajya Sabha also has the rules. They have the rule of procedure. So according to that rule of procedure, Rajya Sabha functions. According to the rule of procedure of Rajya Sabha, under Rule 255, it is said that if a chairman of the Rajya Sabha, if they feel that if any member is involved in the grossly disordered thing, then the chairman will say the members to withdraw from that house for that particular day. Right. So that can be there. But let's suppose that person is not willing to withdraw. So in that case, the chairperson may name the member who has been disregarding the chair, who has been disregarding the chairperson, as well as who has been disregarding the rules and procedures of the Rajya Sabha, right? And it will be considered that they are persistently and willfully obstructing the business of the Rajya Sabha, right? So in this case, the Rajya Sabha may adopt a motion. If the motion is passed, right, then that particular member, they will be suspended for that session, means remainder of the session. There are 3 sessions, so they will be remain suspended for that particular session. In the next session, they will be coming up, right? In the Rajya Sabha, there is a special provisions also that a chairman can suspend a member for a member from the service of the council for a period not exceeding the remainder of the session. So that is there. Plus, there is also rule number 256 under the Rajya Sabha. In this, the chairman can suspend a member of the service or the council for a period not exceeding the remainder of the session. So in the both the rule 255 and under 256, there is rule for suspension in the Rajya Sabha. So there are separate rules for separate rules for the Lok Sabha as well as for the Rajya Sabha. How suspension is different from the disqualification? So in the disqualification, a person, a member of parliament, remains disqualified for entire term of this Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, right? But in case of suspension, they remain suspended for only one session. Then the question arises that what happens if a member is suspended? Because as a member of parliament, they are having lots of rights, they are having lots of privileges. So what will happen if a member gets suspended, right? So first thing first, the suspended member will not enter the chamber. If a Lok Sabha member is suspended in the Lok Sabha, they will not be entering the Lok Sabha. If a Rajya Sabha member is suspended in the Rajya Sabha, they will not be entering the Rajya Sabha. Then they cannot attend the meeting of the committee, because there can be several kinds of committee which has been formed. It is a select committee or it can be a joint committee. So if that member is a part of parliamentary committee, so that member cannot attend such meetings. Also, they will not be eligible to give notice for the discussion or submission, right? So any kinds of notices cannot be served by this member of parliament, and the member of parliament who has been suspended, they also loses the right to reply to his question. Means if they have asked any kind of questions to any ministers, so the ministers do not need to reply that question, as the member themselves have suspended now. So this is the impact that is taking place. Another thing is, does this suspended members, do they go to the Supreme Court regarding the suspension? So actually Article 122 of the Constitution is there. This Article 122 of the Constitution, it talks about that court not to inquire into the proceedings of the parliament. Means whatever proceedings is going on inside the parliament, court will not be taking up such proceedings. Court will not be judging what kinds of proceedings are going on. Means the validity of any proceedings in the parliament shall not be called in any question on the ground of alleged irregularity of the procedure. Even if there is irregularity in the procedure, the court cannot ask any types of question, court cannot take up any kind of cases regarding that. So these suspended members cannot get any kind of relief from the court, right? But the bigger question is, how does this impact the democracy? Because out of 760 member of parliament, right, 143 had been suspended. And as you know, one of the member of parliament, they represent around like 10 to 15 lakh people of their constituency. So this means that around like 20 crore people are now not being represented in the parliament, right? So this is a grave situation. So it will impact the representation, because those people whose representative is this member of parliament, as these member of parliament have suspended, so their representation has also been not there in the parliament. Plus it will reduce the debates and discussion, as all the members who have suspended are from the opposition party, and opposition party constructively criticize the government. They are important parts in the debates and discussion within the house. If the debates and discussion does not take place properly, then like inefficient laws can be passed in the parliament. So that is the issue. Plus public perception and confidence. If such kinds of suspension is going on, mass suspension is going on, it may create a fear in the mind of public that the democracy is in danger, right? That their chosen representative, their chosen member of parliament has been suspended, they cannot do anything, right? So public perceptions can be very fearful in nature. Plus there can be legal and constitutional implications, because in absence of oppositions, there can be any kind of law, any kind of draconian law, any kind of acts can be passed from the parliament, right? That is also an issue. Plus international responses. Our democracy is being judged at the international level also. There is democracy index. Already in that democracy index, we do not excel, right? So such kinds of activities, such kinds of mass this suspension, it will malign the image of India at the international level. The democracy of the India will be questioned at the international level, right? So there will be erosion of democratic values. Now the question arises that what should be the way forward? If the members are not suspended, they will be keeping the gross violation of the rules and regulation, because going with a placard inside the house is obviously, and not letting the house function is not a good thing for the parliament. Within the parliament, there should be debates and discussion, there should be constructive things which is going on. They are the most responsible person in the India. They are running whole country, so they should be more responsible, right? So such kinds of activity, such kinds of grave disorder things or the chaotic things should not be conducted by the member of parliament also. But at the same time, suspending lots of this opposition members, this does not also go into the right direction. So there should be a balance, right? There should be a balance that if someone is like violating the rules and regulations continuously, willfully they are violating the rules and regulations, so they can be suspended, but there should not be any kind of mass suspension as such, just for the namesake of eliminating the opposition, just for the namesake of eliminating all the criticism. So that should not happen, because it is ultimately a danger to the democracy of India. We are a successful democracy right now because we have constructive criticism. Our military personnels, our civilian governments, our parliament has been functioning properly. That's why we are at this level. But if it gets draconian, if it gets authoritarian, if it gets autarky types, then democracy will not be left. So there is need to have a balance between both. Those who is violating willfully, continuously, they should be suspended. But those who is just there for the constructive criticism, so that constructive criticism should be taken by the government as a positive step, positive feedback, and from that there should be like attitude should be that they should be absorbing the constructive criticism, and it should be used for the better implementation of laws, better implementation of the policies, or the better policy formulation also, right? So this is all regarding suspension. I hope it is clear to you. All the questions which has been created in your mind, all the questions has been answered. Thank you very much.